Hi, I'm Olivier Delbard. I teach here at the ESCP Europe, and I teach an elective in the European Executive MBA. And I teach CSR and sustainability. I would like to maybe introduce my conception of CSR and the way we teach it and the way we try to help students understand the real issues behind CSR is, I would say, talking about the three S's of CSR, three words that I think characterize the CSR phenomenon today. The first one would be sustainability. You probably heard about sustainable development, which is the concept that was born in 1987 from a United Nations report. And people talk a lot about sustainable development, but if I put it simply, I would say sustainable development for a company means what is the role, what is the responsibility of the company towards the sustainable development challenge today in our world, which means how far should the company contribute to addressing and responding to environmental issues that we're all faced with, and social issues as well. And so in a way, sustainability means that companies have to take their share in addressing those issues. Issues like resource use, natural resources, the use of water, fossil fuels, energy. Could also be the way companies will impact the environment, the damage they may cause to the environment through their activities. It could also be social issues like poverty, like, how could companies contribute to better social cohesion? And then from that perspective, CSR, I think, has to take into account the sustainability challenge. And then corporate social responsibility goes way beyond philanthropy. It means, well, companies, of course, have to have, philanthropic actions towards the community. They have to be socially responsible, but they also have to endorse other issues like ecological issues that are relevant for them and social issues more generally speaking. And then for us here, CSR means CSR and sustainability. In the manufacturing industry, many businesses today are trying to work on the products, How can we make our products more sustainable? That is, how can we minimize their impacts on the environment? How can we maximize their impact on society? All this while remaining economically sustainable, profitable, competitive, dynamic. This is the sustainability challenge, which I think is a great challenge today for many, many businesses. The second S for me is strategy. I think now a lot of people today think that CSR has little or nothing to do with strategy, with business strategy, and they often see CSR as, a few scattered programs or actions that companies are taking towards the community to help them, to help poor neighborhoods, to help people suffering from AIDS, for instance, or to help reforestation in, for instance, primary forests or tropical areas. But this would have nothing to do with, the strategy of the company. Now, it is clear today that if businesses do not consider CSR as one element of their strategy for the future, for the short but also longer term especially, then CSR will be just a fad and will be just a gimmick and will lose credibility. So I think the big challenge today for businesses is to understand the issues of CSR for them and to see how they could relate it to their strategy. Which means, by the way, that companies have to look into the future. Businesses have to look at their models and see what they'll be in 20 years from now. What are the main challenges for them? And then this could help them integrate, the CSR challenges into their operations, into their products, into the relations with all their stakeholders, people inside the company, outside the company. And then this, I think, is a real key to, the CSR debate, and that this will be the only way of giving CSR its full credibility and also, well, given the challenges that the planet is facing today. The third S word, I think, is shared value. Why shared value? And this is, by the way, a concept that has been brought up by Michael Porter, especially recently. Shared value is a new concept that is saying that, well, we all know, and MBA students all know too well, that one of the key elements for a company is to maximize its share value, financial value. And value maximization means, well, a financial model means ratios, means, profitability, etc. Now, CSR is not necessarily compatible with a strictly financial perspective on business. If you say on the one hand that a business has to maximize its financial value, which by the way means maximizing the return for its shareholders, and then on the other hand it has to make CSR an integral part of its strategy, it may be difficult to connect the two and to see the convergence. And people may say, well, CSR issues have little to do with the reality of the business, which is, its profitability, its maximization, the value it creates for its owners, especially for shareholders. The concept of shared value is a concept that says that today, for businesses, the objective should be double. It should be to both create and maximize financial value, but also to create and maximize social value. How could a company today be both creating value from a financial point of view as well as from a social point of view? I think businesses have to think that way. This will be the only way for them to move ahead and understand that their legitimacy is also based on the value they can create towards society. And I think this new concept is a very interesting concept because this is a way of reconciling the finance people on the one hand and people who think that companies have responsibilities towards the community, more largely speaking. But if they think of value creation, they then may find the right tools and they may find the right ways of integrating sustainability and CSR into their models. To conclude, and since I'm talking to future MBA students or MBA students, I would like to maybe send a message to them and say that, okay, you may not necessarily be familiar with the CSR issue and you may not necessarily see all the relevance behind this, debate of CSR and sustainability, but my conviction is that today, doing an MBA also means understanding the challenges for businesses in complex environments, and also looking ahead and seeing that those are issues that really get now into the reality of businesses. I would say CSR also means innovation. It's a way, how could that push businesses to innovate more, to be drivers for change? And that I think for MBA students, I guess, is of great interest.